Okay, so let's see how we assemble or how we mount the rocker motor. So the rocker motor is usually, oopsie, a NEMA motor, NEMA 17. NEMA 17 means that between these screws that attach the motor to whatever you need to is 1.7 inches. That's about it. So these motors can have different power. And if you look at this one, it's 17HS 3020B. And this one, if you take this one, you Google it, you're going to see what type of current it takes. And you will have to adjust the current from the driver. The driver is somewhere in here. So this is the driver board, okay? And there's a pot in here that you will have to adjust the current. Probably put a video about how to do that. The motor will connect to this cable, and this cable goes in this connector, which is right by the stepper driver there. And it doesn't really matter if you put it one way or the other way. It changes the direction of rotation of the motor, which in our case doesn't make any difference. Okay, so I am using this little silicone I guess washers. They are handmade. I had a piece of silicone and I cut some holes in them to kind of dampen a little bit the vibration that the motor transmits to the rest of the board, which is quite high, especially at lower speeds. And I'm using this 3mm metric 10mm long screws. Now you might be able to do 12mm long. Again, the length it doesn't count the head of the screw, so it's just the thread length there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, this is already kind of partially assembled. Make sure that you assemble it with the connector part into this way. It's easier in the box. And you can see in here, you can see these little paddings in here. And the one that I'm going to put is this one in here. And I'm going to put it in. Oopsie. And I'm going to put also the screw. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky. Well, not too tricky. We have to, oopsie. Yeah, this thing keeps floating around. So we just have to make sure that, okay. Okay, yeah, I think I got it. Okay, so it's right there. Now we're gonna put the screw, and of course we're gonna turn this until it will get where it should be. Okay. Okay. Sorry for the focus. Okay, and we, tighten it well enough. Don't have to over tighten. It's hard to over tighten it anyway. And that's about it. And this is the bracket. So this is the bracket, and that's the motor. Again, make sure that this one goes lengthwise so it has more space in here. The other way would have hit a little bit the box and make things a little bit more difficult. Now the motor has this coupler that goes on the shaft. Has a small hole on one side and a bigger one on the other one. You just put it with the hole small, and you're gonna tighten these screws. However, these set screws. However, we don't have to tighten them at this point. I'm gonna tighten them much later. Okay, that's pretty much it. Nothing else complicated. So after installing the rocker motor on the brace, we're going to continue with the two other motors that we need. So one of them is the air pump. So air will get in and out. It has obviously a connector that we might have had to solder to the two connectors in here. It doesn't matter if it's plus or minus, depends on how you put it on the board. It's going to move the air in and out to one or the other, so it doesn't really matter. Of course, once you mount it, you make sure that the program that you mount the hoses properly, otherwise you're gonna pull the liquid out. Okay, so yeah, it has these rubber things. This can even rotate if you want to change a little bit the position, not necessary. And we are going to be using these 10 millimeter long 3 millimeter diameter screws. We are using 3 millimeter diameter almost everywhere, with maybe a couple of small exceptions. So of course we're gonna mount it facing this way outside the box, and we're gonna start. We can use an Allen key depending on what kind of shape the head is, and I'm gonna kind of screw them in until I reach the I can feel it on the other side that it went through the board. The holes don't appear to be, the distance for the holes doesn't appear to be identical to this rubber thing, but that's intentional because we want to put a foam pad underneath it so we can reduce a little bit the vibration and the noise. Yeah, this motor can be quite noisy. You have the alternative to supply an aquarium pump that can provide probably bigger flow of air. That would be, completely separate, so you wouldn't even have to do this. Okay, so we did that. This is the piece of foam. It's not very tall, maybe, I don't know, 12 millimeters. After we do this, we're gonna kind of force it in here. Let me see, maybe I have a screwdriver that I can use to do that. Sorry, I will force it the other way around. It doesn't really matter too much. It's just that it offers a little bit of extra padding for vibrations to lower the vibrations. Okay, so that seems to be pretty much okay at this point. Yeah, this will go through the two holes that are on this I don't know, front or back wall, depending how you want to call it. Okay, and after you do that, we can mount this in one of the controls in here. So for instance, this would be the air. The air would be probably PP2 and PP2, the two contacts. Make sure you insert them in those, and ideally don't do that when the board is powered. It might cause problems. Okay, so for the second one, the peristaltic pump, that comes with a hose that goes through these two holes, and it will rotate one way or the other again. So as you can see, the box itself has a number of places where you can mount this. It's fairly easy. You kind of drop it in. Doesn't matter how you put it. Actually, this one you can rotate by undoing some of these clips. There are two types of clips that open this to put the hoses, and these lower clips that basically separate the plastic and the peristaltic pump from the motor, and you can rotate the lower ones if you want the hoses to be 90 degrees or something else. And of course, fairly easy. We are going to put the screws in. Okay, and is this the proper one or is this the proper one? I think this is the proper one. Okay, at the beginning, since it's a new box, new cut box, you might have to push a little bit. Yeah. So that's kind of nice in a way. Okay, and I'm gonna put the nuts in here too. It's not a big problem if this is not gonna come undone. I'm gonna unscrew it through the level of the plastic underneath. So when I put the nut in, it's going to be a little bit easier. Okay, and after that I can tighten the nut a little bit. Not a bad idea to use, especially where there's vibration, which is the case for both of these, well, for all motors as a matter of fact. So this is what it is, and of course we're going to put this one again. This is the circulation, so sometimes I put it on 1A and 1B. Make sure this can actually burn the board if you don't put them properly, if you put them on another contact. So that's about it.